This week on The Process, I speak to a young man whose talents on the football field have earned him a scholarship to the United States. We talk injuries, training sessions, and homesickness. This week, it's James Bolger.
I've had one real major injury, but I've had two injuries that have had the most impact on me. I noticed at training when I'd run, I started getting awful pain in my knees. Training twice a day for about an hour and a half each. A video session where we'd watch video on the team we're playing on the Wednesday. Teammates helped me not get homesick.
Welcome to The Process podcast with me, Ronan, the podcast which tells the story of successful people in the world of sport, business, film, and music, and the process they went about achieving success. I will also talk about what motivates these people. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I also have an Instagram page at ProcessPodRF. And without further ado, let's get on with the show. Good afternoon, James.
Good afternoon, Ronan.
So first of all, I suppose, how are you getting on in this pandemic?
I'm trying to keep fit and keep busy, but I'm doing pretty well.
Not so bad. So I suppose we'll start. What age were you when you started first playing football? Like, what's your first footballing memory?
My first footballing memory was probably going into our local town team in Boyle and just going in, kicking the ball with, I think it was under 8s or under. I remember going to Sligo for indoor games, and that's probably the earliest memory I have. But I know my mum just telling me that ever since I could really walk, I was trying my best to kick a ball around the house.
And like, would you have played football all the way up in primary school at like break times and lunch times as well? And
yeah, every day out in the pitch with people who are 2 or 3 years older than you, playing football every single day, buying new tracksuits when you tear a hole in them.
and would you say like that gave you a good grounding, kind of discipline and tough tackling and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'd say playing in the schoolyard was probably a big part because I always enjoyed playing with the lads who were older than me.
Mm.
We used to have the rivals of like 4th and 5th versus 6th class. It really helped me play against people who are developed better than me. So it was always good to play against them to improve my skill level.
And would, like, I suppose the way that the game has gone, a lot of teams like to keep it on the floor. Would playing on the concrete schoolyard help that, like, that you kind of keep the ball low?
School was very strict in. Yeah, our school was very strict in that they did not want us kicking the ball high because it'd always end up out on the road or something, and the teachers used to go mad. So we used to have a rule that it used to have to stay hip high, or you could be kicked off the court.
That's so bad. So, like, apart from playing football, did you play any other sports when you were younger then?
When I was younger, I had a big interest in athletics. I did every event I could in the long jump, the shot put, sprints, hurdles, middle distance, cross country, basically anything I could get into. I don't know why, because it used to be awful, but
Yeah.
I used to love the races, and I used to play basketball and Gaelic football, and I even played badminton for a while.
And would you say like these sports helped you kind of with your football and scale it under your fitness or your agility?
Yeah, definitely the athletics was a big thing because it's the technique aspect of running, which can improve everything so much, and even long jumping that, getting like power to jump into the air for a header or anything. And the badminton definitely helped keep me light on my feet so I could change direction quickly. And the Gaelic football, it taught me to use my brain more, look around, because I was never really a big guy, and Gaelic is such a physical game that I could use my brain more by seeing the pitch, the ball comes to me, so I wouldn't get hit or anything like that.
And then I suppose did you play soccer all the way up with Boyle Celtic
Yep, the whole way up.
the whole
I
way?
started at the underage for a couple of years playing centre back, and eventually managed to move my way into midfield and as a winger for a while.
All right. And like, did you feature much kind of as you were coming out of secondary school with the reserve or senior team?
um, yeah, so when I was last year of underage football, I started playing. I wanted to play with the senior team, but I didn't think I was ready for senior, so I played with the reserve team for Boyle Celtic, which
Mm,
was a great time for me to like develop better because it
yeah,
was against big physical bucks who wouldn't take anything from any
absolutely.
of these
Yeah.
young fellas coming up, you know. So
And
yeah,
like,
I got to play out in the wing for a while then.
and then from there, I suppose you went over to Galway United under 19s. How did that move come about, or did you know when did you first become aware of the interest there?
Well, okay, so I was playing with the I first got was playing with the reserves, and then the next year I got to play with the senior team for a bit. But I went to it was actually in school in sixth year. One of the English teachers in the school, um, see, this is all leading towards America. The English teacher in the
Mm.
school asked me what to trials down in Limerick,
Mm.
and I was looking to get into a League of Ireland team. Like I wanted to play at a high standard, so I said, yeah, I'd love to go down. And I went to the trials, and it was actually for the American scholarship. So
Mm.
I done the trials in Limerick, and I had two trials in Dublin and two in Galway. And eventually it kept going, and I was doing pretty well at the trials, I thought. And so I was going to trials for about a year, maybe a year and a half, while I was also going to League of Ireland trials. Couldn't get on a team. And then I got the offer to uh, move on to the next stage with the American trials and actually send a video out to colleges to try and get an offer. And but it turned out the year that I did that, I was a bit too late to go to America that August.
Mm-hmm.
So they recommended for me to do a 1 year course in Galway, in a Galway Technical Institute. The course was called Elite Soccer Performance and Coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, yeah, for a year up in Galway. And our manager for the school team, he actually was a selector for Galway United,
Oh, was
and
that
he
Johnny
told
Glynn?
me it was Johnny Glynn.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, he asked if I would like to go down and train with Galway United for a
Mm.
while. So I think it was pre-season before Christmas that I was down training with them, played a few challenge games, and then I think it was January, they asked would I like to sign as long as I could stay for, and I said I love
Yeah,
to.
not so bad. Yeah, I suppose Johnny's a bit of a Galway United legend, so I suppose if he recommends you or he tells you, you probably, you know, you listen to him, and he.
Yeah, yeah. He was a great coach. He was good crack as well, you know.
So we'll kind of veer away from the playing side a bit for a second now. So injuries, I suppose they're a big part of every player. Now, have you suffered any major injuries in your career to date?
uh, I've had one real major injury, but I've had two injuries that have had the most impact on me. One when I was probably about 14 or 15. I was pretty small at the time compared to everyone else, and I hit a massive growth spurt. And in that time, I wasn't able to like play games like Gaelic football. I think was on at the time. I think the soccer season had finished, and I was playing Gaelic. And I noticed at training when I'd run, I started to get an awful pain in my knees, and I didn't really know what it was, the physio, and they weren't quite sure what it was. And anyways, I'd take a few trainings off and I'd try and come back to a game, and in the warm up I'd start running and would come back again. This awful pain that I could barely walk on. So I had to take off for a while, take away from any sports or anything like that. And I went to the physio, kept going back, and eventually I got told to go up and get an MRI scan. And it turned out that I had Osgood Schlatter's disease, which was like it happens during a growth spurt.
Mm.
where you get a buildup of calcium underneath the knee, and it can be like bone rubbing on bone. So yeah, I was awful sore, and I ended up having to take, I think it was 7 months off any sport. And by the time I came back, I was one of the tallest in almost all the sports. So I grew a mad amount.
Um,
And yeah, so that I was on the Gaelic county team for Roscommon at the time, and I couldn't go back to do the trials and then because of the injury. So I got knocked off that. So that was a big blow for me as well.
and like, would this have gonna had a bad impact on your mental health as well as your physical health? Not being
Yeah,
able.
so the training, not being able to train, obviously affected my fitness a lot. But I would try and do some core exercises at night or that, and it was very, very frustrating being at the pitch, watching everyone at the game, sitting in the dugout, not being able to tog out or anything. So yeah, it was very frustrating. But I was young at the time, so I didn't realize how much like football was important, because underage was probably some of the best times. Wasn't as serious, but it was good crack with the lads as well. Yeah.
And I suppose then, kind of from, was it August last year, you made the move to America and to Northwestern College, I think, if I've done my research correct.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that's the one.
Did you have to do a pre-season there, or were you straight thrown into the deep end?
So yeah, so when we go out in August before everyone else comes to the college, the athletes like. So we had a training camp. So the first week everyone was brought together, we met each other, and then within 2-3 days we went to a camp. So I went camping for, I think it was 2 nights, and we done team bonding exercises and just like games and stuff like that, like eating challenges where you'd put your hand into a bag and God knows what you could pick out and you'd have to eat it. So yeah, it was good fun, and got to know all the lads, and we had challenges and different games that were very physical. But it was good. And then when we got back, we started at our training, which training twice a day for about an hour and a half each for the next like 2 weeks before college starts.
And was that all on a pitch, or was there gym sessions, or?
Preseason, when we get back to the college, it's all on a pitch,
Okay.
because usually we do our weightlifting after season and during the summer. So when we get back, we're trying to get our technical and fitness back.
So then, like, I suppose as you progress on, what would it be involved in, like the typical game week? If you just, is it one game a week, or kind of would you be training towards a particular day? Like, to say, I know over in here in Ireland, the game might be on a Sunday morning or a Saturday evening. Kind of how does your week unfold before the game on, I'll just say the game is on a Wednesday?
Yeah, so in our season is very, very short. It's squeezed into between September and like November. So we usually have games a week. So we train for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on a Monday, and then we might have a video session where we'd watch video on the team we're playing on the Wednesday, and we talk about tactics and that and what we plan to do. And Wednesday, obviously, we'd have to travel God knows how many hours to the college we're going playing. And we play the game, and we come back, and we might have a little recovery session Thursday, or we might leave it, because then we'll have training again. Oh yeah, we'd have a recovery session on a Thursday with a bit of training, and then Friday we'd have another video session for the team we were going to play on a Saturday.
And would you say that's been the most professional setup you've been involved in?
Yeah, definitely. We have strength and conditioning coaches that are looking after us, and after trainings, we come into an indoor complex where we do mobility and stretches like that. And the video sessions are very technical about how we plan to break down and defend against the team. So yeah.
And travel wise, I suppose, is it on the bus or how do you travel to away games?
Yeah, it's on a big coach bus that could take hours to get there.
Oh,
But
not just down
yeah,
to
it's
Sligo
worth it.
town or somewhere.
No, a couple of hours on a bus.
So then I suppose kind of going over there, did you suffer any homesickness or much homesickness when you were over there, or were the teammates a big help to you?
Definitely the teammates helped me not get homesick, but also because like you have college going on, so that every day that you're training, you're trying to squeeze homework in somewhere,
Mm.
and every day you're not training, you're trying to catch up and do homework. So you're basically busy all the time. So you really don't really have a chance to get homesick, really. And then you have all the lads that you want to meet as well, go over to their dorm or their apartment. So yeah, you're kept busy.
And like, you're finished? So you finished your first year now.
I am, yeah.
So for yourself, was it successful on the pitch? Kind of, did you contribute much, or did you play many games?
Yeah, I played as many games as I was able to. So I started most of the games and I had goals and I think 4 or 5 assists by the end of the season. But I
Hmm.
did miss out on 2.5 weeks of the season after I sprained my ankle in a challenge. So 2.5 weeks and I missed 5 games because of how packed the
That's packed,
season is.
yeah.
And then trying to come back, I had to have my ankle taped
Oh.
heavily for when I came back. So, but yeah, it was a good season. I enjoyed it.
And like, is it a grass pit, mostly grass pitches over there, or is it like 4G or synthetic turf?
It yeah, it kind of depends. Most teams have a grass pitch, but the weather changes an awful lot. So like
Mm.
when you first go out there, it does be like in 30 degrees, awful heat. So playing on turf is very tough. Uh, Feeling the heat through the bottom of your boots, like. But then coming near the end of the season, the weather changes dramatically, where it'll get below zero, and there could be snow or anything. So most teams have a grass pitch, but they also use their American football pitch as well when it gets cold.
Would you say what would be the main difference between the game over here and then the game over there? Physicality or the pace of the game?
I think it's definitely the fitness and the physicality of the players. They concentrate a lot on um, power and speed and fitness.
Mm.
Uh, Whereas I think here we're more concentrated on technical, how you
Mm.
like passing and touches and all that. Even though the Americans are very good at it, it's a very high level game out there. But yeah, I think they concentrate on fitness and speed an awful lot more.
Then I have the final two questions now for you, James. So the first one really is kind of a question we ask everyone. What's been the highest point of your career and then the lowest point of your career so far? In any sport, doesn't matter, soccer, Gaelic
Okay,
football.
so um, probably have one of my highest points in soccer was definitely when we had a challenge game against these national champions in for soccer in their league. They came down from Florida to play us in a challenge game.
Hmm.
We went out and we were losing 1-0 and it was coming near the end of the game. And I think it was I managed to get my first goal for Northwestern, a header at the back post to level the game to send us to extra time.
And
Yeah,
was that,
that was a good moment.
I suppose, like our goals celebrated much over there. I know, I suppose, from what I've seen over here, that it's usually just a few high fives and Off you go then for tip.
Yeah, the celebrations out there, it's kind of normal, but then when a goal goes in, you hear the music blaring through the speakers.
I suppose then it's kind of your lowest point.
Lowest point was definitely when halfway through the season when I sprained my ankle. I got out there on my football scholarship and I thought I get to play, and then having to sit on the bench for 5 games, it was fairly depressing now, watching them all out there playing and you're not able to do anything.
And then finally, what motivates you to carry out the process? Kind of what motivates you to, I suppose, achieve success?
Well, first of all, I think it was just I've always just loved playing football, always kicking the ball out when I'm younger. Anytime friends used to come over when I was younger, first thing we do is out onto the grass to kick a ball around. And when you're not doing it, you realize how much you miss it, especially in times like this with coronavirus going on. But also, I suppose I've never do in youth age groups, but I've never really won anything big. So I'd like to win some big league or especially some out in America would be nice.
That's all right. Sure, best of luck, and sure we'll hopefully be reading about you in the next few years about maybe, I don't know, a big move somewhere.
Hopefully.
Thanks a million, James.
No bother.
That concludes the first episode of the Process podcast. Thanks very much to James for coming on and giving us his time. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe and turn on the notification bell just to make sure you know when I upload. You can follow my Instagram page at ProcessPodRF, and until next time, goodbye.